Welcome back, Armchair Outdoor enthusiasts. This is my tutorial on how to weave your very own rug from a climbing rope. In order to get started, you're going to need a rope, obviously. This is my 9/4 70-meter sterling bicolor rope. I'll put a link in the description below. It turned out a rug that was 20 inches by 38 inches. You're going to need a pattern, and this one was just a picture I printed out, and I kind of guessed at how to make the rug, so that's why I'm doing the tutorial. And you're going to need some glue. This is epoxy that is flexible. It's a marine epoxy. Finally, you are going to need a syringe that even Nurse Ratched would be happy with. I'm setting up in my living room right now to do a little time-lapse video for the tutorial. I'm going to be using my Sony action camera. I really like this action camera. It's the only one that I took with me on my summit of Mount Cowan a few months ago. So I'll put a link to both that video and these cameras in the description below. In the time-lapse, you'll see that I'm using this 35-meter rope instead of my 70 because I don't want it to take 15 hours like it did the first time. However, we're still going to end up with something like this. Let's start the tutorial by finding the middle of the rope. Go ahead and move one bundle to the left and one to the right. Take each strand in a separate hand, passing the left underneath of the right and forming another loop at the top. This is going to start your pretzel knot. It'll look something like this. Then you're going to take the left strand, passing it over, under, and pulling it all the way through to complete your pretzel knot, which should look like this. Now move both bundles of rope to the top and lengthen the bottom of your pretzel knot. Grab a loop in each hand and flip it to the right. Once you've done that, you should have it so that it looks like this. Go ahead now and pull down each loop and cross the right one over the left one. After you've crossed each one, you are going to go ahead and take the left rope, passing it under, over the next two, and under the next loop so that it looks something like this. Now we want to do the same thing with the right hand strand. Go ahead and place it over, under, and then finally over again so that it looks something like this. Pull both bundles of rope all the way through so that your prolong knot looks like this. Now widen your rug so that you can accommodate the weaving. As you pass these through, follow your pattern back and forth using a bite like this so that you can do more rope at one time. Continue to weave your rope back and forth, tracing it until you have completely used up one end of the rope. As you can see, I go ahead and take the time to make sure it is nice and neat. I tuck this end of the rope away, and now I start on the other end of the rope. All the time making sure that the strands lay very close to each other, or else it causes a big mess and it makes it much harder to complete your rug in a neat and orderly fashion. Once you have completed that strand, go ahead and stand up, take a break, and start shuffling all of the rope to one end, causing one big loop to appear. You'll want to grab a strand and trace it back to the loop. You will then work in the opposite direction. If this doesn't make sense, trial and error is your best friend. Go ahead and pull in a good length of the loop and start working that extra through the entire rug until the extra comes out on the other end where you can pull it through that strand. As you can see here, it takes a little bit of time and it's a little fussy, but it comes along pretty well. Here I have my extra, and I complete the weaving process by running it back into the rug. So there you have it. That's really all you need to know as far as how to weave your climbing rope rug. What you'll want to do from here on out is make sure that any slack that you take in the loops is done in small increments. Don't take a big loop because then you'll over tighten your rug and you won't be able to weave in the extra that's left over on the end. Now that you are done weaving and tightening up your rug so that you're happy with it, It's time to cut and burn the ends so that they lay nicely. We are going to be mixing up about 2 ounces from each of the bottles. So put 2 ounces of part A and 2 ounces of part B into our mixing cup. Put on your gloves, stir up the epoxy really well. Take your syringe, open it up, pull out the fine applicator, squeeze it, suck up all the epoxy that you can. You should end up with about 80 to 90 milliliters of epoxy. Let it all settle against the plunger so that there's a little air gap up here so that you can squeeze out the excess air. Put on your fine applicator tip, and now you're ready to start gluing. The most important areas of your rug to glue are each square where the bundles intersect. Each bundle goes under another bundle of cords and creates a little pocket in between each bit of rope. So you want to take your epoxy and you want to inject a little bit into this pocket, slide it over this pocket, slide it over this pocket, so on and so forth across each intersection of bundles. Basically, you're going to do that from one end of the rope all the way to the other end of the rope. The next place that you're going to want to glue is at these bundles where they cross over. You will want to place some glue here, folding it back down so that these cords can be glued to the bottom ones. And then you're going to do that here, 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 and so on and so forth, all the way around your rug. Lastly, you can see that I put some glue on the top of my rug at these cord bundles. With a little creativity, you could hide that, but you would have to wait till all of this is dry, then flip it over and work your way in from the other side. The only drawback of putting it on top is the fact that 1, you can see it pretty easily, and 2, there's a little bit of a rough edge that I'm going to have to sand down along these lines of epoxy. Once the epoxy has cured overnight, you can flip your rug over. It'll look clean and neat. It will remain soft and incredibly flexible, and best of all, it will not come apart. I sure hope this tutorial has been helpful. If there's any more information that you need, please feel free to check out the links in the description below or get a hold of me at my website, www.armchairoutdoors.com. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. As always, have fun making your climbing rope rug, and happy trails!